Why do some of the most powerful people in history act like they don't know what's happening only to end up outsmarting everyone? Most people think intelligence must be loud, obvious, and proven. But what if I told you the smartest minds often wear the mask of a fool? In this video, we'll uncover why acting foolish might be the most intelligent thing you can do, and how Machiavelli himself used this hidden strategy to navigate ruthless power games. Why do some of the most brilliant minds, people capable of outwitting kings and reshaping history, so often appear simple, forgettable, or even foolish in the eyes of the world? Is it humility? Is it fear? Or is it something else entirely? There is an ancient strategy, older than kingdoms, older than law, and perhaps even older than language itself. It is the art of disguise, not the disguise of costumes or masks, but the disguise of intelligence. The concealment of your sharpest weapon, your mind. Machiavelli understood something most people still fail to grasp. Displaying your brilliance openly is not strength, it is exposure, it is invitation. An invitation for envy, for rivalry, for destruction. The moment you reveal your sharpness to the world, people sharpen their blades against you. You provoke their insecurities, awaken their ambitions, and make yourself a target. But if you hide your intelligence, if you let them believe they are the clever ones, then you become something else. You become invisible, and in that invisibility lies power. Let the others play their games. Let them show off their intellect, their cleverness, their pride. Let them speak over each other in rooms that reek of ego. While they compete to be heard, you remain silent. While they assert, you observe. And while they rise too quickly, you learn where they will fall. This is not cowardice. This is not weakness. This is discipline. This is the wisdom to know that the battlefield is not always the place for your sword. Sometimes it is the place to watch others exhaust their weapons before you lift a finger. In the courts of Renaissance Italy where Machiavelli lived, clever men died early. Their brilliance, worn like a crown, attracted too many enemies. Their words, too sharp, cut the wrong throats, but the quiet ones, the simple ones, the fools, they lasted. They moved through rooms like shadows, listening while others shouted, surviving while others fell. And so the wise began to adopt the tactics of the fool, not because they were fools, but because they understood the value of being seen as one. Imagine this, a court full of schemers, everyone hiding daggers behind fake smiles, everyone calculating, everyone playing, and then there is you. You stumble a little, you mispronounce a name, you laugh at the wrong time, you ask questions that seem obvious. What happens next? They relax. They turn their attention elsewhere. They speak freely in front of you. They underestimate you. And now you are listening to everything. You are watching. You are absorbing what others do not realize they are revealing. The fool, it turns out, has the best seat in the house, because the fool is not feared. He is not blocked. He is not opposed. And as he listens, his silence grows sharp. His eyes grow cold. He is no longer the fool they think he is. He is something far more dangerous. He is the mind behind the curtain, the unseen hand moving the chessboard while everyone else plays checkers. But this only works if you know how to remain hidden. If you can resist the very human urge to prove yourself, because that is where most intelligent people fail. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be respected. They want their brilliance recognized. But Machiavelli would laugh at this, because recognition is rarely rewarded. It is punished. It brings envy. It breeds resistance. It paints a target on your back that never fades. You must learn the strength of restraint, the art of withholding your power until it becomes necessary to use it. And even then, especially then, you must let others think it was coincidence, that it was luck, that you, the fool, just happened to be right this one time. Do this often enough, and you will shape events without anyone realizing you were ever in control. There is a passage Machiavelli never wrote, but would have approved of. The lion may roar to frighten the herd, but the spider weaves in silence and still captures the prey. If you are truly intelligent, if your thoughts move faster than the world around you, you must accept that the world is not ready to see your full mind. Not yet, not openly, not until it is far too late for them to stop you. Because once you have revealed the full shape of your intelligence, you have shown them where to strike. You have handed them a map to your weaknesses, to your pride, to your deepest motivations. But if you play the fool, no one can find the center of your mind. No one knows how deep the well runs. No one knows how far your vision extends. They laugh at you, and in their laughter, you begin your quiet rule. There is a particular moment in every war, in every negotiation, in every game of power, when the person you least expect becomes the one who shifts the entire outcome. That person is almost always underestimated. Seen as weak, seen as naive, or simply not seen at all, and this is not by accident. To be underestimated is not a flaw. It is not a misfortune. It is a strategy, a weapon far more subtle, far more devastating than anything direct. Machiavelli understood this clearly. In fact, he trusted those who were feared less than those who were respected, but he trusted the most those who were not even noticed, because when you are not noticed, you are not blocked. When people miscalculate your strength, they leave you open paths they would never allow their true rivals. They share secrets in front of you, they speak openly, they expose their doubts, because you are not a threat, because you are nothing, because you are already dismissed. But in that dismissal lies your opportunity. Think of the generals who pretended their troops were weaker than they were. Think of the political advisors who played dumb until they were running the kingdom behind the scenes. Think of the so-called fools of history who took power not by storming the gates, but by being let through them. This is not just a psychological trick. This is structural. This is real. Every group, every organization, every empire, no matter how modern or primitive, is built on perceived hierarchies. And these hierarchies depend on one thing: knowing who the enemy is. So when you're not seen as an enemy, you're not guarded against, you're not controlled, you're not contained. That's why the truly smart never broadcast their intelligence. That's why the most dangerous strategist is the one everyone assumes is harmless. Let them think you are confused. Let them believe you lack experience. Let them misread your silence as ignorance. Every moment they think you are less than what you are is a moment they let you closer to their inner circle, to their unfiltered selves, to their vulnerabilities. Because while most people are busy trying to impress, trying to dominate, trying to prove they belong, you are gathering information. You are learning how they think, what they fear, who they trust, where they're weak. And none of them even consider that you might be building something powerful behind the mask of incompetence. Machiavelli wrote about the lion and the fox, not because they were the strongest animals, but because they knew how to navigate the world of appearances. The lion uses force, but the fox uses perception. The fox survives not by proving its strength, but by being dismissed, by being misunderstood, by being thought irrelevant, until it strikes. And the most devastating strikes in history have always come from the underestimated. The victories no one saw coming, the betrayals no one predicted, the revolutions that started with the quiet, the clumsy, the unimpressive, until they became unstoppable. Because the moment you are recognized as powerful, everyone builds walls around you. They sabotage you, they whisper your name in fear, they assign spies to watch your every move. But when you're underestimated, those walls never go up. You walk freely. You ask the questions no one else can. You listen to what others should never say in your presence. They talk because they don't fear you. And when they don't fear you, they stop hiding. And when they stop hiding, you see everything. There is nothing more valuable in a power game than clean visibility into your opponent's mind. And the fool, the underestimated, the dismissed, the weak, seeming, has more visibility than anyone else. They are not in the spotlight. They are in the shadows. And in the shadows, you can see the stage far better than the actors can. But none of this works unless you are willing to sacrifice your pride. That is the cost. You must allow people to talk down to you. You must endure their laughter. You must accept that they will think you are lesser. That is where most people break. Their ego demands recognition. Their intelligence wants applause. They want to correct the room. They want to show that they know, and the moment they do, they lose the advantage. They are no longer underestimated, they are marked, watched, and the power they once had, of being ignored, vanishes. You must learn to sit at the table and nod while others speak nonsense. You must let them think they are smarter, stronger, more prepared. You must feed that illusion carefully, never overplaying it, never underplaying it, just enough for them to keep you off their radar, but close enough to hear the heartbeat of their plans. Because the game is not played on the surface. It is played in the blind spots, and the underestimated have full access to those blind spots, moving silently through the cracks that ego never notices exist. And when the day comes, when the mask falls and the underestimated finally reveals the full depth of their mind, no one is ready, no one is armed, and no one understands how they lost to someone they never even considered a threat in a world obsessed with dominance, recognition, and status. The loudest person in the room is always the easiest to destroy. The one who boasts of brilliance, the one who demands attention, the one who shines too brightly under the lights. Those are the ones who draw the fire first. But there is another type of individual, one who never walks into the spotlight, one who does not provoke envy, one who hides behind the soft cloak of foolishness. He is overlooked, unthreatening, harmless. And yet, he survives, not just survives. He thrives quietly beneath the surface of power games. Because unlike the lion who roars and draws every hunter's arrow, the fool is ignored, unchallenged, even pitied. But pity is better than fear. It is safer than respect, because pity doesn't provoke the sword. Machiavelli would tell you, if you wish to live long among the powerful, learn how to be mistaken for a fool. Not because he admired weakness, but because he knew that the world punishes visibility. The world punishes superiority. The world punishes those who cannot contain their own light. History is full of examples. The cunning man who dressed in simplicity, the wise woman who played the servant, the general who acted unsure of his own strategy. They all shared one trait. They drew less fire than they deserved. And in that space of peace, while others were being struck down by jealousy and suspicion, they rose. You see, the moment people begin to fear your mind, they look for ways to silence it. When they sense your ambition, they sabotage it. When they hear your name whispered too often, they begin to imagine what you might become, and they move against you before you become it. That is the paranoia of power. It does not wait for you to act. It eliminates the possibility of your rise. So if you truly wish to rise, you must not look like you are rising. If you truly seek power, you must never appear powerful. You must appear distant from the throne, uninterested in the crown, incapable of the game. Only then will you be allowed near it. Only then will they lower their guard and let you study them closely. The loud succeed briefly. The flashy win headlines. The arrogant win applause. But they also win enemies. They awaken the hatred of those who feel threatened, the spite of those who feel overshadowed. And in doing so, they make themselves the first targets of every whisper, every plot, every fall. But the fool draws no such fire. The fool walks between enemies without being noticed. He hears their plans, sees their flaws, watches them burn each other while he sips quietly from his cup. And when the flames clear, he steps into the silence and claims what remains, because no one was watching him. They were watching the ones who called themselves kings. There is something deadly about being unremarkable, something invisible about the quiet man in the corner. You forget he's in the room. You share secrets in front of him. You overlook him when giving orders. You never fear him because he's the fool, and yet he's always there, always listening, always one step ahead. This is the greatest armor in any game of survival. Not a sword, not a shield, but the perception of weakness, the mask of incompetence, the image of irrelevance. And make no mistake, this is no accident, it is design. The most powerful operators of every era have mastered the art of appearing non-threatening. They train themselves not to provoke. They use laughter as camouflage. They speak less, they praise others more, they nod in agreement while their minds are 5 moves ahead. All of this creates one effect. No one strikes them, no one targets them, no one sees them coming. And in this world, where every form of excellence provokes retaliation, to be unseen is not just clever, it is necessary. The fool does not brag about what he knows. He does not challenge the powerful. He does not argue in public because he understands something deeper. Those who confront too early are eliminated early. Those who speak too much are disarmed before they even act. Let others become the center of attention. Let them show their intelligence. Let them collect followers and enemies alike. While they burn under the light of ambition, you remain cool in the shade of simplicity. And as they begin to collapse under the weight of envy, rivalry, and expectation, you will still be standing. Because no one ever fired a shot at the fool who wasn't supposed to win. There is a silence that comes before a trap closes, a stillness before a kingdom falls, a calm before a fool shows his teeth. You've seen him before, the man dismissed, the one who speaks little, whose presence is tolerated but never feared. He doesn't argue, doesn't interrupt, doesn't correct anyone in the room. He makes mistakes that seem innocent. He asks questions that seem naive. He listens as if he doesn't understand. He nods at ideas that make no sense. People laugh when he speaks. They whisper behind his back. They exclude him from the game. And yet he's always there, always waiting, watching, measuring. What no one realizes is that this so-called fool has made a decision, a patient, ruthless decision, to let everyone around him expose themselves first. He doesn't need to rush. While others are in a hurry to impress, to dominate, to control the narrative, he is writing a different script, a longer one, a colder one that requires silence, restraint, and perfect timing. And when the time comes, he doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to announce. He just acts. And by then, it's too late. You see, the world believes the fool has no plan. That's exactly why the fool can plan in the open. Right under their noses, he's underestimated, dismissed, overlooked. No one watches him closely. No one prepares for his moves. No one defends against what they think is harmless. That is the genius of his strategy. Because the moment a person is seen as powerful, every door closes. But the moment he is seen as weak, every door opens. And through those open doors, he walks, calmly collecting information, alliances, secrets, leverage. Not loudly, not quickly, quietly, steadily, until he holds the very pieces others thought they controlled. And then, when the moment is right, not when he is provoked, not when he is insulted, but when the board is fully visible, he strikes. And his strike is not emotional. It is not desperate. It is not messy. It is clean, surgical, final. Because while the rest of them were busy playing to the crowd, the fool was studying every move they made, every word they spoke, every lie they told. He didn't interrupt them. He let them talk, let them boast, let them lie to themselves, and now he knows them better than they know themselves. Machiavelli knew this well, that the appearance of weakness is often the highest form of control. Because it gives you the power of surprise. No one guards themselves against a fool. No one suspects him of playing chess while everyone else plays dice. That is what makes the final move so devastating. Not just the power of the act, but the shock of realizing it came from the one person no one saw as a threat. That shock paralyzes them. It creates hesitation, and in power games, hesitation is fatal. The fool has no need to climb the ladder while others are fighting for the next rung. He lets them rise first. He lets them tire themselves out. He lets them bleed each other. And when they are weak, scattered, exposed, he takes the whole structure with one precise move. And the most terrifying part is he doesn't gloat, he doesn't explain, he doesn't need to because he already won. But you must understand, this moment does not come easily. It requires restraint, the discipline to let yourself be laughed at, the strength to remain silent when you know the answer, the coldness to endure the sting of being overlooked, while never forgetting what you're truly capable of. It is a game of endurance, of perception, of patience, and every day the fool pays that price. He watches others rise too quickly, burn too brightly, fall too hard. He says nothing. He stays in the shadows and he waits until the final piece moves, until the lie collapses, until the crown is unguarded. And then, with no announcement, no struggle, no battle, he steps into the place that was never meant for him. but which he prepared for all along. And all anyone can ask is, how did no one see it coming? How did the fool win? How did the one we laughed at end up with everything? Because that was the point. You never saw it. You were never supposed to see it. So now you see the truth they never teach in schools. That intelligence is not always loud. That power is not always visible. And that the fool is not always what he seems. The wisest minds in history have never rushed to prove themselves. They disguised their brilliance. They allowed themselves to be underestimated. They drew less fire while others burned in the spotlight. And when the moment was right, when the room stopped watching, they moved. Quietly, decisively, finally, this is not a game for the proud. It is a strategy for the disciplined, for those who can endure being misjudged, for those who can sacrifice applause for advantage, for those who can be the fool. Until it's time to become the master, Machiavelli understood it, the court knew it, and now you do too.